Welcome to the Bedroom to Boardroom podcast with me, Noel Reeves, the podcast that's building a community for small to medium-sized business owners to help them on their journey from the bedroom to the boardroom. So today I'm joined by two very special guests who happen to be my parents. So Nep and Shona Reeves, who, biased as I am, I think brought me up really well to give me the tools to help me to have belief in myself that I could do what I wanted to do. And so it's something that I'm working on with my children to try and get them to believe in themselves and think of opportunities and be open-minded. And so I really wanted to speak to them to find out, were they conscious about what they did, and to get some advice really on what that looks like from a parental side. So welcome to the podcast.
Pleasure.
Mum and Dad.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for coming. Now, I know this is probably not very comfortable for you guys, having been on this, but it was really important for me that I spoke to you about this in this environment. So A, so you knew what you did for me that you might not think, and B, for you to have the opportunity to talk about what you've been through with me that you might not have shared with me before. Obviously, I've been through ups and downs on my business journey, and I appreciate as a parent that at times would have been quite hard to watch, and equally you might be really proud of some of the stuff that's happened. So I really wanted to get that insight from you as a parent, and most of the people watching this and listening to this will be parents, and will have hopes for their own children. So first question I'm going to ask you is, one of the things I think that I have is self-belief. I've never felt that I couldn't do something. Now, I'm interested to know, was that something that you guys thought about did you make a conscious effort to try and teach us that we to believe in ourselves, or is that just something that I've serendipitously learned from you guys?
Encouraging you to take part in as many things as we could.
Yeah.
Swimming, tennis, scouts, cubs,
Yeah.
things like that. Just to give you some independence and the courage to go and do things and go camping and things like that on your own.
Yeah.
To make you independent. You don't need us all the time.
And what about, so with that sort of stuff you said about swimming and stuff like that, obviously I was never going to be Duncan Goodhue. I might look like him now, but
You didn't know at the time.
no, but I never felt like I was being pushed to achieve things.
No.
But equally, I was never told I can't do something.
Well, we wouldn't have pushed you to the extent where you would have resented going. If you did not want to go somewhere, then that was fine. We didn't make you go, but we just wanted to encourage you, especially like swimming and diving, because then you can go anywhere and swim safely and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, good life skill.
Yeah, and that is what it is. We would encourage you to do what you felt you wanted to do, which is, again, the swimming and anything like that. And it's more or less, we did for you what we grew up with.
So you had that from your parents, you think?
Well, you might have.
No, I don't think I did.
didn't. No.
Okay.
But it was
But
just...
the opportunities weren't there when we were so young, when we were growing up. Like there was more for you. Like there's many more now for your children.
So what was there anything in your childhood then that made you consciously think, I want to do this for my kids? Because I could see the value in that, but I didn't have that opportunity myself.
I wanted you to be confident in yourself, because I don't think I ever was. And that is a massive thing growing up, a life skill, being confident to go and do things and not shy away all the time because you think you're not going to be good enough. Go and try it and see how you get on.
And like the swimming, we keep going on about it. As a non-swimmer,
Yeah, you can't swim.
I realised what I had missed out, and we tried everything we could to get you to swim. And yes, all three of you are really confident swimmers, and I'm still not.
There's an interesting lesson there, because you can't swim, but it doesn't stop you going in the water.
No.
You're not afraid of the water, are you?
No.
Because so I remember as a teenager, we were in Spain and we went to the water park, and there was like a zip line thing you could go down across, and you did it and fell off or whatever and went into the water, and sort of are there flapping around and everyone's laughing at you. But the lifeguards probably didn't realize that you can't actually swim, but it doesn't stop you from why does that not stop you? If you think, well, I can't swim, so ultimately I could drown, but I'm going to do it anyway. Is that just because
Well,
you're
yes,
silly, or
it was a bit of a fun thing, and it was actually a running jump of somewhere. And my intention was to get near somewhere because there was a lifeguard blowing his whistle at everyone for all sorts, and we thought it'd be a good idea to bomb him.
Okay.
But I slipped on my last step and just went for it. But yes, I knew if I was in the water, I had to splash around or whatever just to get to safety, which, yeah, I'm here, so it must have worked.
yeah,
But we were all in it together and had a great time.
yeah, we did. But what the point I'm making is, obviously you can't swim, and yet you did that, which to me is probably showing me as a child, okay, I can't do something, but I should do it anyway, because what's the worst that could happen? Okay, yeah, you could drown, but which could have been a different end to the holiday. But what I mean is, you're not saying, well, I can't do that, so I'm not going to partake. You know, you've got out of your comfort zone and you've done something that you were probably quite uncomfortable with, but you've done it because you're, I don't know why you've done it.
It was just a fun thing. We were there to have fun, so this was one part of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for me, growing up, like I said earlier, I never felt that I couldn't do something, but equally, I never felt pushed to be the best, to win, to, um, to be, I don't know, in any way boastful, I suppose. So, like, what is it? Is that something that you were conscious of to
Yeah,
not?
taking part.
Yeah,
It's not all about the winning.
yeah,
It's taking part and you enjoying yourself and doing things to the best of your ability.
yeah,
And that's all a parent should ask for, really.
yeah,
Doing things to the best of your ability, not having great expectations, because children aren't capable always of getting to the top.
yeah.
And it's not going to do them any harm not being first all
No,
the
no,
time.
no. Yeah,
Life's hard.
yeah.
You're not going to win at everything.
No, you're not. That's absolutely right. Yeah, and to be able to have humility to accept that is an important life skill. So fast forward a few years, I remember one incident where I was going to go to secondary school, and we found out, I don't know how long before that, a year before, 6 months before, that I could sing.
Yeah,
Well,
the year
you
before,
probably knew I
yeah,
could sing, but then it took the teacher at primary school to say to you, actually, he's got quite a talent there.
yeah, yeah.
And as it transpired, so you thought, okay, great, get him into Westminster Abbey.
Well, what happened? There was a program on TV, and they were saying they didn't have many choristers coming forward,
Right.
and so I thought, oh, well, let's give it a go. And so I phoned Westminster, but they only take them at 7.
Right.
He said, but I have a very good friend in Peterborough who takes boys at 11. I'll give you his number. And so then it was Easter, Christmas time. So we waited till January when the schools went back, and we called them up. And that's when he said, oh, how lovely. Yeah, bring him along, gave us a date to come for a voice trial. And then it went on from there, really.
Yeah, so I remember that. I remember going to Peterborough, driving up there, going to the school. I don't think we went to the cathedral, did we? I
No,
don't
no,
remember that.
we
No.
went to the school.
We went to the school, and I remember I chose a song from Les Mis to sing for my audition. And yeah, I remember being in that room with the master of music, whoever was playing the piano, and just having to sing, and kind of people watching. And it was quite uncomfortable, but I don't recall it being that uncomfortable. I just thought I'd just get on and do it. And obviously we looked around the school, and that was really interesting. And then, it felt very different to my kind of sheltered suburban North London, Hertfordshire life. Like, it was very different. And obviously I got offered a place, but I was reluctant to do it, having, only really probably spent a few days on a school residential away from you guys, never been away for any length of time at all. To then, because obviously I would have to board. And that for me was a massive comfort zone challenge. And now being a parent, I understand from how it is for me to let one of my kids go, to boarding school, although I had a great time, I recognise how difficult it is to let that child go.
Yeah,
The
I
worst
don't
day
know.
of my life.
It's like a
Yeah.
bereavement.
You kind of left me to make that decision to whether I was going to go or not.
Yeah, well, we put it to you first in January, and you weren't very keen, but you know, let's just go and give it a go. Just what we've got nothing to lose. Let's go and give it a go. And then on the journey up there, we were not very happy lying down on the back seat in the car. Why are you making me do this? And and we got there, and you had a lovely time, and you said, "Oh, I really want to go there. It's really good. It's really good. I want to go to this school." And but then as the next couple of weeks, you calmed down a bit, and you said you don't want to go. You want to go to the school your brother was going to. And so I just said, well, if you don't want to go, fine. But I just want you to think, and it's a lot for an 11-year-old to take on board. It's such a wonderful opportunity, and it will never come again. Why don't you just go and just give it a try and see what you think? Anyway, we went, you did. And then we took you there in September. Absolutely the worst day of my life so far. Yeah, it gets me now, leaving you up there. But then, and then the first 2 weeks you were allowed to call, which was horrendous. And then you came home for your first exia. And in the way back in the car, you said, I thought I'd be upset at going back, but I'm fine. And that was it from that day on, no looking back.
That was, I remember that, and obviously I remember the journey up to Peterborough, silent
Yeah.
the whole way there, going to John Lewis.
Yeah, had lunch.
Yeah, and still to this day, although Peterborough John Lewis is gone now, but we could never go in there for lunch without that feeling in us pit of our stomachs about, and it was, and I remember that night, first day, I just cried myself to
Yeah, I
sleep.
know. Oh, I cried all the way home.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop. Couldn't stop crying. Dad said, "Oh, please try and stop. You're making me want to cry," and I just couldn't. And then I saw your bike in the garage, and I can only imagine. It can't be as bad as a bereavement, but that's what I felt.
But that's a really powerful thing to do, to let me feel that grief, that separation anxiety, that, literally on my own. I'm there now. You've gone. I'm there in a building with a load of people I don't know, going to a school where I know no one, and I'm literally on my own. And obviously, I'm not on my own, but I feel like I'm on my own. I don't know anyone, and you very quickly overcome that. But I think having the strength for you guys, having the strength to allow me to do that is probably more powerful than me making the decision to go. Because as an 11-year-old, I could have just said, this is exciting, I want to go. I'd had no desensitization to it. A lot of my friends knew they were going for years, or that was always the conversation would always been had. But for us, we would never have had those conversations, because that would never have been on our radar for any of us to go to a boarding school or move away or be separated. There's no way. So, and equally going on from that, I know that what that did for me in terms of giving me independence, like you said earlier, also the ability to fight my own battles, to accept other people, get on with people. You're in a room with 12 other boys, you fight and argue and take the mickey out of each other and are best friends. And the ability to be tolerant of other people, I think I've definitely learned from that. And I think I'm definitely more tolerant now than perhaps I would have been during that. And obviously the school situation, my eyes were opened up to lots of different things. Our life was all of our friendship groups were the same, middle management parents, holiday to Spain in the summer, 3-bed semi, most of our friendship group were all pretty much in the same level. Then I go to a school where most people are more wealthy than we were, for sure, and people that have done things and experienced stuff and lead totally different lives to what we led. And that for me opened up my eyes, going to stay at other people's houses and saying, oh wow, this is a really nice house, what does your dad do? And for me to think, okay, I want to do X, Y, Z. Whereas before, because we said, you'd not really pushed me to do anything, or never really said to me, you need to work hard at this and then you can be this or whatever. You'd not pushed me to go and do anything. At the same time, not held me back from anything. But I think I was probably sheltered from what opportunities were out there in life. And so what impact do you think that had, or did you see any impact that had on me?
I don't know that I was aware of anything really.
No, it was.
I know you was.
You obviously were adventurous. Would always want to try things or do something different. Or I think from an early age you want to do something that nobody has done.
Well, you always like making kits, and that you like doing things with your hands, and but I think you made some lovely friends at school, and I think that is the biggest gift you can have is having lovely friends. It's can just make your life so much nicer, having nice friends, spend time with. And would you have made the same friends at the other school you were going to? No. I don't think you would have done, and that's another reason I'm so glad you did go there.
So then going on from that, I went to university and I dropped out in my second year. So I was the first one of like all my cousins from your side to go to university, and maybe the second from your side. I felt at that time, not responsibility, but I felt special about that. I felt good. I've like, well, okay, I've gone and done something that hardly anyone else has done in our family. But year 2, I dropped out, kind of lost interest. What did you think to that?
Disappointed. I was disappointed that you would rather go snowboarding than work on your chosen career at the time. So I just stopped sending you money. You've got to go and get a job now, mate.
So, but you didn't try to stop me from. Well, I don't recall that anyway. You probably to stop me from dropping out.
No, well, I didn't know at the time. No, I think Caroline told me that you weren't going anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure it was
That's
her.
my sister.
But that's your choice, isn't it? By now you're more of an adult, and you know the choices you're making. And if you want to do well in life, you've got to work hard. But you chose. You didn't want to continue with that course.
Yeah, the maths is too hard for me.
Oh,
I just don't have a maths brain. That's my problem. I'm good with basic stuff, but structural loads. So were you disappointed in me at that? Or you said you're disappointed?
I was disappointed, that you dropped out because, obviously you're proud of your children when they go to university. And I wasn't proud of you because, you're always proud. But I'm just a bit disappointed that you hadn't stuck with it.
Did you ever think, like, what's he going to do now then?
No, I knew you would be fine.
no, you sort yourself out.
Just because of where you are, the sort of person you've always been as a child. You've always wanted to survive at doing things. So
when did you first notice that then?
probably when you were about 1 year old and learned to walk.
Really?
Yeah. Determined you were going to get up on those feet and walk.
Yeah, and it's yes, we were disappointed that you stopped the university, but we were great believers in you make your own destiny. And if you felt this is not for me, what would have happened?
Yeah. It's not the end of the world.
No. And I'll say that, like, I've always felt supported by you guys. I've never at any point thought, oh, I can't tell them something, or they're going to be so ashamed of me or upset with me.
Never be ashamed.
I've never, ever had that feeling in my life. I don't feel there's anything I couldn't tell you.
No.
And I know that you'd never make me feel bad about something.
No.
And I think that's a massive thing for parents to recognize, is like there's a fine line between letting your kids get away with whatever they want to do and never bollocking them, to being always supportive and accepting of the choices that they make, as long as they have good morals. And that's definitely what I've always grown up with is be kind, be polite, do the right thing. Those basic things that most parents would like their children to have.
Manners and respect.
Manners and respect, yeah. And I like to think that that's stood me in good stead. I've always felt like I've been able to talk to people older than me when I was young in my career and all this sort of stuff. I've always felt like I'm older than I really am.
Well, it was never like children were seen and never heard. That definitely was never a rule in our house.
No.
And when visitors came, we always made sure you came and said hello. Because when you get to teenage, age years, you're not going to sit down with elder adults.
I recall sitting down and having dinner and always being around when there was older people at home.
Not older, our age.
Older, not old, older. So let's go a bit further forward then. Dropped out of uni, got a job working in events. Really enjoyed that, and moved back home. And obviously, it was probably nice for you to have me back home.
Yeah, no problem. We never minded them coming back. Yeah.
And then I obviously had that job for about 5 years, and then I decided I was going to leave and set up on my own.
Massive step. Big step starting your own business, isn't it? When you've got a regular income and everything. But, was it the shoe show you did first? What show you
Those
did?
sandwiches.
Yeah. At that time, how did you feel? Were you worried about me?
No. Very proud. Look what he's done. He's done all this on his own. Yeah, very proud.
And then when that business failed, I was in a pickle. How did you feel then?
Oh, devastated for you. Absolutely devastated. In all you'd worked for and everything. But, it wasn't a very pleasant time for you.
No, it wasn't, no.
No.
And was your instinct that you would, and obviously financially you weren't able to bail me out.
No.
Would you have done if you were?
Oh, God, yeah. 100% we would have. Yeah. No, we would always.
But do you think that would have been the right thing to do?
Probably at the time to have helped you over that period, yeah.
But in hindsight now, it wouldn't have, I don't think it would have been the right thing to do. In a way, I'm glad that you weren't able to do that. Because I'm glad that I went through that hardship and learnt that lesson and came out the other side rather than not having to deal with the consequences, as hard as that would have been. And I know my instinct with my children would be to, I'll take that pain away from you. Don't worry, I'll sort that. I'll fix that. I'll do that. But I think that's a really important lesson that as parents we have to learn is you're not always going to be there to bail out your kids, and you shouldn't. I don't think you should. I think sometimes you have to learn. Learn the hard way. And as harsh as that might sound, I think there are a lot of times when people are bailed out by someone, and it stops them from learning that lesson. They're probably more likely to repeat it again in the future.
Well, I think it depends. If you're bailed out and you don't have to repay the money, I think then that's too easy for you. But I think you've got to, if somebody helps you out financially, I think you should pay them back.
Yeah. We always had to do that. Borrow a tenner off Dad, put it in the calendar.
Yeah.
Payday, hand out. Right, have that tenner back, please.
Yeah.
Well, money doesn't grow on trees.
But I think that made you stronger.
But do you think you were
wiser.
conscious of trying to? Well, I'm going to teach the kids a good lesson here that they have to stand on their own 2 feet, whatever. Or do you think it was more that you couldn't afford to just give us money?
I'd say a bit of both, really, because like if you ever borrowed from your dad or your mum, you always had to pay it back.
Oh yeah.
So that was Dad's way. You always paid it back. If it was me lending you the money, I would say, oh, don't worry about it. But it was always your dad.
But again, it's not a good lesson, is it?
No, but it was always your dad you'd go to for money. Never come to me.
Yeah.
You always go to Dad.
The money man. The no money man.
Yeah, no money man. Yeah.
Okay, so that all happened, and obviously Michelle and I moved to Ireland after that. So a second time in my life that you're not losing me, but
no, you're going away, and especially as you just told me, you're going to have a baby as well.
Yeah,
I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken.
Yeah, so obviously we moved away, and sort of started to rebuild a life for ourselves. And then after about a year, I decided I got a job. I got a job shortly after we moved there. And then after a year, I decided I was going to go again. How did you feel about that?
Happy, pleased for you, because you I think you found it very difficult to be told what time to start work, what time to finish work, how long your breaks could be. And when we came to Ireland, that's what I saw. How you know, that's the impression I got. I think it was difficult for you having a new baby as well. When you used to having
Yeah.
the freedom of having your own business,
Yeah.
all of a sudden having to be told by somebody else what you can and can't do.
Yeah. I think I wanted to do my own thing just for lots of reasons. Was there any time that you felt that I was mad?
No,
No.
no, because I knew you would make it work. Because you were, it's just in you to provide for your family, and you know you're a good provider. And I never thought for 1 minute that you would not be able to provide for your family.
And you were so determined.
Yeah.
No matter what came up in life or whatever, you'd be determined
Yeah.
to resolve it.
Yeah.
It's not your way or somebody else's way. You would just resolve it. And yes, there was some ups, some downs, but it's at the moment it's looking very good.
But it was, you know, we loved all the parcels arriving, and it made us feel part of it, I suppose.
Well, you always have been
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of it, though, haven't you? Like, everyone in our family has worked here at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the only one who's never been on the proper payroll, but you always come in, help out, always being there for me, and never saying, "No, you sort it out," or you've always been there. I always know that if I need you, you're going to be there for me.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what being a parent is all about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Being
yeah,
there for your children.
yeah. You have to teach the tough lessons, but also that unconditional love that you have for all three of us. That I don't find the words to describe that, but it's it's awesome.
Well, you're supporting your
Yeah.
children, come what
Yeah.
may, isn't it? Yeah.
So yes, we will do whatever we can,
Mm.
and there's no sort of questioning whether we will do it or not. If we can, yes, we will.
So, are you proud of me?
Very.
Yeah.
Of course, every day now.
Extremely. Yeah.
I had to ask that question, didn't I?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you have worked so hard to achieve what you've got. You're a wonderful dad, wonderful, and that makes me proud every day. So
And we should be proud of you
you
because
should.
you're fulfilling your dream.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And you live a
of
wonderful
course we
life.
are. But even when the problems arise, you will resolve it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I've learnt that from you guys. You guys have been through sticky situations.
Yeah.
I've seen you working hard, seen you doing the homework that you used to do to pay for a holiday, or if you want something, you got to work for it, and it's the harder you work, the luckier you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think luck's got a lot. Sometimes luck on your side has something to do with it as well.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah. In the right place at the right time sometimes.
Or have you just got your eyes open? And if people who are more have more open-mindedness to things spot opportunities before someone else does. So I think that's what I believe. I'm not a massive believer in luck. I do think you make your own luck. I think people can go through life having never achieved really anything and calling themselves unlucky, but have they got the right tools? And that comes down to good parenting, in my opinion, from the start, learning that at an early age. You're having your eyes opened, and I don't know, maybe it's an intrinsic thing, maybe it's a learned behavior, I don't know, but yeah, I'm not a massive believer in luck. I want to understand why something's gone wrong. It's not because of luck.
Yeah.
It's because something's fallen down somewhere.
Yeah.
And it takes years and years and years of just hard work and no real tangible reward to then all of a sudden get to a point where, okay, we've got momentum now we've got something, and then that's when you can start to enjoy your life a bit more. But equally, that can be taken away.
Absolutely.
At a drop of a hat.
Be aware of that all the time.
Yeah. What one bit of advice would you give to parents who are watching this, who are probably business owners, to inspire their kids? Because I know this is going to be hard for you, because you probably don't see that you probably haven't inspired me to do what I've done, but you've absolutely put the groundwork in for me to be inspired. So what are the fundamentals for parents?
Support.
Yeah, you
Support through everything.
Always got to be there for them. Come what may, you've got to be there, by their side. helping when you can, and knowing when to step back. But don't push them. That's why I hate to see children being pushed and pushed by their parents. You know, I think you should realise your children's own capabilities, because you know they're not all going to go to university. But there's nothing wrong with doing a lovely apprenticeship. So, you know, get to know your child and know their capabilities.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best.
Cool. All right. Thank you very, very much
It's
for
been an
coming in.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
It's,
no, it's
yeah, it's been
lovely.
great, and
Thank you.
I just hope that you know how grateful I am for everything that you've done for me.
No, yeah, that's
You don't
good.
need to be grateful.
I am.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Noel.